and welcome to Little Drops of Wonderful. This is my channel to talk about all things knitting and crochet and crafty and all of that good stuff. My name is Ali and I live in Kent, which is right in the very southeast of the UK underneath London, and I live with my husband and our two daughters. One of whom is nearly 15 and is asleep in the room above me and needs to get up soon because she's going for a socially distant walk with a friend, and she has one of my finished objects that I need to get from her. So let's hope she wakes up soon. It is Sunday morning, which is about the only time I'm going to get to film this week between work and homeschool, but all of that chatter later. You can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as Starry Eyes Ali. And I also make videos, sort of life vlogs, including crafty stuff, over on my other channel, which is This Little Wonderful Life. And all the links to all those places are underneath if you want to go and find me and discover more. Also underneath this video in the description box are all of the show notes and the timestamps. It takes me ages to do them, so it's really worth going to have a look. It's got all the links for things that I talk about, or if you sort of think, what's she saying? What is that, the name of that pattern? It will all be underneath in the description box, and if I've missed anything, just drop me a comment or an email. All that information of how to contact me is down there as well. And there was just a really loud clonk from upstairs. I'm not sure if that's the teenager emerging or next door thumping about. Both is just as likely as the other. What are we going to talk about today? I'm going to talk about some finished objects. I've got some works in progress, well, a selection of works in progress, because we'd be here all day if I went through all of them. I'm going to give you an update on my Box of Singular Loveliness, which is where we look at a skein of yarn that I have in my stash and decide what patterns would be good with it. So I just want to give you an update because I've had some really good pattern ideas that I wanted to share with you. I'm going to talk about some incoming stuff. Now, I went to a retreat, an online knitting retreat, the Knit Tea Nordic retreat. So there may be some incoming things off the back of that, which I can have no responsibility for. It's completely the fault of the retreat and the speakers and everyone that tempted me. I'm going to talk about some books and stuff, which is where I talk about stuff I'm reading and watching. And finally at the end is where we mop up anything else I've forgotten and just gives me another excuse to keep yabbering on. Shall we get started with finished objects? I should say as well that everything about today's podcast is completely and utterly dishevelled. I am dishevelled, I have lockdown hair, my fringe is down to my eyes. I've got about 2 inches of grey hair growing through. I desperately need to dye it. I attempted to put on makeup, but I don't know, I just lost the will. And then my mascara had dried up because it's been like months since I've had to wear makeup. So I'm feeling a bit dishevelled. I also painted my nails last night, but I haven't actually tidied them up. So I've got like little bits of nail varnish all over my fingers. And we're in the midst of doing up our bedroom. We've lived in this house for 6 years and this is the only room we haven't touched, and I am sick of it. We're getting all of these, well, you can't see all of them, but there's a big wall of wardrobes here and over there, and we're getting all of them replaced with proper built-in wardrobes. I don't know what was going on when the people before us put these ones in. That means emptying the whole room because we've also got to get it plastered. So the mess that I'm sitting in, actually let me show you. I will show you the chaos. I mean, and this is just a tiny part of what I'm dealing with at the moment. The rest of the mess from this area is over on our bed and behind the camera and under the camera. Now I've got to get the camera all set back up again, so hopefully you can see me and it's not too wonky. Okay, let's get started. Stop faffing about and talking about the mess and start with finished objects. So, I just realised I've got to climb over the mountain of stuff here to get one of the finished objects, which is currently in hiding in one of the wardrobes. 1 second. This is Brad, the Brachiosaurus. He is finished. I just need to weave in his ends. When I make, so I'm getting straight into it, but let me tell you first about the pattern. His name is Brad. He's a Brachiosaurus, and the pattern is from this book, which I've spoken about so many times before because I've made a few things from here. Dinosaurs, Mammoths and More prehistoric amigurumi. When I say I've made a few things, I've now made 2 things. But I've talked about the book a lot. So the pattern, it's all different pattern authors. And Brad is by Madja Hansen. I made him in a worsted, sort of DK, light worsted weight yarn. It's all cotton. And this was requested by Lilia, my eldest daughter, for her birthday, which is at the end of March. And yeah, when I make amigurumi, I always leave the ends until I'm absolutely satisfied that I've got all of the limbs and things sewn on correctly. And once all the limbs are on and the head's on and I'm happy with how he's looking, I will then weave in the ends. Now with his head on this occasion, I think what I'm going to do is weave in the end, but try and make it obvious as to where the end is, so that if I ever need to unravel it a bit to restuff the neck, if he gets a bit droopy, I can. However, this is not going to be a cuddled amigurumi. Lilia's 15, she likes them sort of as a display kind of thing. So hopefully he might last a while before he becomes floppy. I really love him. He's got such a personality. Look at his little face and his little polo neck jumper. He was an absolute joy to make. I've made a lot of amigurumi. I've spoken about my love of amigurumi in my video that I made before called Amigurumi and Me, which reminds me of Magical Me. Amigurumi and Me. So if you want to watch that, you can. It's just about all the amigurumi I've ever made. And I've also got an amigurumi along. I've written some notes so I don't forget what to tell you. We're having an amigurumi along at the moment. So I will be entering Brad into my own amigurumi along. Not that I can win a prize, but it's mainly for fun. I will draw a prize at the end. There's an Instagram hashtag, which I'm putting on the screen now. It's ldowamialong, I think. I'll put the correct one on the screen. Yeah, it's good to know your own hashtags, isn't it? And then I've got a Ravelry thread as well. It's just one Ravelry thread for FOs and chatter. Let me put him down. We live in a Victorian house, and above our windows we have our window in our bedroom. We have a big window which looks out onto the hallway, and because we've got a loft extension, the stairs to the loft lead right past the window. So if the teenager does get up, she's going to see Brad as she comes down the stairs. So I think let's have one last look at him before I tell you more about the Ami along, and then I'm going to put him back into his hiding place in the wardrobe, where he has to stay until the 31st of March, which is her birthday. I just wanted to mention the construction. The tail is worked as part of the main piece. You don't actually sew it on. So you kind of do the legs and join them together. You work a couple of rounds and then you pick up the tail that you've already made and then work it into the body. And that is such a fantastic construction. And not only that, but it gives it stability to stand up. So he can stand up really well on his own. I really liked making this, and I think it's possibly one of my most favourite amigurumis that I've ever made, like in terms of the construction of it, the design of it, the personality of it, and just, yeah, so I think that's partly down to years of practice coming together to mean I feel like I might know what I'm doing, and partly due to the design and the pattern being so good. Yeah, so I'm really pleased. Like I say, just slightly worried that he will get a bit floppy in the neck. The pattern does say you can put a wire through or a pipe cleaner, but in my experience that never really works very well because it moves about and it's not poking out the top of the head. So I definitely want to look into ways of doing that. I'm thinking maybe I could use, like, maybe instead of a wire rod, like a wooden rod, but maybe glue some fabric or stuffing to the top of it so that it kind of stays put a bit more, and if it does move and push against the top or the bottom, it can't go through because it's got a layer of fabric, if that makes sense. Anyway, let's go and put him back into hiding, and then I'll tell you about the amigurumi along before I show you my next finished object. Okay, so as I was saying, the amigurumi along is on Ravelry and Instagram. Is going to be one thing. I will draw a prize at the end, but mainly it's just for fun, and it is a lot of fun so far. The group, the Ravelry group, is so chatty, so fun, so full of the most adorable crochet and knitted creatures, and the Instagram hashtag I try to check every week and there's just some wonderful things popping up on there. I'm really enjoying it, and what I'm going to do at the end, it runs until the 31st of March because that's my eldest daughter's birthday, so that was my deadline for making a couple of amigurumis, one of which I'll talk about in Works in Progress. So it runs until the 31st of March, and what I'm going to do at the end is I'm going to get all of the finished pictures together in one big montage, and I'm going to play it on the podcast as a kind of slideshow thing. I don't know how I'm going to do it yet, and I might do it as an extra video as well, just so you can come back to it to easily find it. So that I'm really looking forward to doing that. Like I said, the thread is brilliant. There's so many good things popping up. We've got 2 Bernie Sanders amigurumis now. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's such a big thing at the moment. Bernie Sanders, American politician. There was a picture of him at the inauguration, and he was sitting with a mask on and his coat on, and he's got these sort of recycled knitted mittens on, and he's got his legs crossed, and it became a meme. It just went viral and became a meme. Even my kids know who Bernie Sanders is now. You know, we're in the UK, we don't know huge amounts about American politics. But yeah, my 15-year-old and my 10-year-old both know who he is now because of that meme. And there was a lady who designed an amigurumi of Bernie, and there were 2 people who have made Bernie amigurumis. That's Caroline, who I was speaking to on Zoom yesterday. Hi Caroline. Hi Clarissa Beth. We had a lovely chat yesterday. And also Zoe, you made one as well, so that was really fun to see. The girls looked through the thread with me because it's just so joyous and fun to look at. We have got Alexis of My Yarny Corner is making a bear for every month this year, which I thought was a really good idea. And there are so many other things popping up in that thread which we're just really loving watching. But perhaps the best thing of all, and a podcast first, and the best finished object we've ever had in any make-along that I've run on this podcast, is we've had our first make-along baby. Lovely Maria of Not Cyan gave birth to a beautiful baby boy, and it coincided with her finishing her amigurumi turtle. So she put a picture on the group, and she very kindly said that I could share it on the podcast. So here he is. Welcome, new finished object to the world, and welcome to the turtle as well. Well done, Marie, and congratulations to you and your lovely family, your lovely growing family. It was really fun to have a finished object that took 9 months to make. So if you're tempted, come along, join in, have a go at making some amigurumi. There's lots of advice. There's people discussing how to work certain patterns, beginner patterns, more advanced patterns. Some people are trying amigurumi for the first time just because it's a good excuse to do it. Yeah, so hop along there. All the details are underneath in the description box. You just press that little chevron arrow, which is down there or there, and it'll all appear like magic. So that's my first finished object. My next finished object on my list is still upstairs with the sleeping teenager, so we'll just bump that up a bit and hope she gets up soon. So I'll show you my socks, the Wildflower and Honeycomb socks. It's a pattern by This Handmade Life. I started these way back, maybe 3 years ago, when I'd not long started knitting socks, and I got really tangled up and lost with it. So I abandoned it, and I came back to it this year thinking, right, this is the year I'm going to make these socks. And I did. I have finished them. I've used DPNs to make them, which is my preferred method of knitting socks. Oh, got a bit of thread on it. Here they are. I keep thinking my sock blockers are a bit too small because I am quite a loose knitter and always knit my socks 56 stitches. And they always fit me fine. They're not baggy or anything like that. But my sock blockers that I've got for my size of foot, can you see they're always just that little bit baggy? Or maybe they're supposed to be so that you don't block them too hard. I don't know. Anyway, these are the finished Wildflower and Honeycomb socks. The yarn I used is actually sparkly. I don't know if it will come out. And it's by Little French Meadow. It's a yarn dyer, two lovely ladies, Alison and Yola. They no longer dye, which is a shame because I really love their yarn. But this was called Lemon Drizzle. Wildflower is for the flower motif along the top of the foot and the leg. And the honeycomb is for the honeycomb pattern on the heel, which I really like actually. It's a nice texture. What else to say? I think it was a 2x2 twisted rib at the top, and there was two options for the toe, a wedge toe and a star toe, and I opted for the wedge toe, but just because I've done it before. But I got carried away with it, and I sort of reduced too much, so, and I couldn't be bothered going back, so I just did the same on both socks. So it does look a bit funny at the end, but no one's going to be looking at my toes, let's hope. And there they are, really pleased with them. The designer was super helpful. She was brilliant. I had to message her because I got confused with part of the pattern. And she replied the same day and just sorted me out immediately. So couldn't recommend her highly enough, really. She was brilliant. And I would say if you are new to sock knitting, probably don't start with these from experience. Because you do need to follow a chart. And the pattern is, you know, it's quite a basic, but not basic pattern, but there isn't a lot of hand holding and long explanations that you would get in a beginner pattern, for example. That is not a slight against the pattern. It's just it's just written for a more intermediate knitter, I would say. But even so, I would say I'm an intermediate knitter and I got tripped up by it. But the designer was really helpful. So all is well in the world of the wildflower and honeycomb socks. And I'm really, really pleased with them, and I'm looking forward to taking them off with the sock blockers and wearing them. Most of the socks I've knit recently I've given to my eldest daughter, who is very knit worthy. So it's nice to have an additional pair to add to my own sock drawer. Not that I have a sock drawer at the moment, because everything's being emptied out of the bedroom. Everything's in boxes and suitcases. I don't have tea, I've got orange squash. I can see the teenager emerging down the stairs. Oh no, it's not. It's my husband. He must have gone up to and wake her up. Because she's going for this walk. She's going for a socially distant walk with a friend today, so she wanted to be woken up by 11. Otherwise, we'd just let her sleep for as long as she needs. Her brain is growing and she needs to sleep. They're all going back to school. We've got one more week of homeschooling. I should have said this at the beginning. We've got one more week of homeschooling, and then they're going back on the 8th, which is amazing, because honestly, if we had had to do another 6 weeks of homeschooling, I don't know what would have happened. I would have been even more dishevelled than I am now. So as it turns out for this, we've done 6 weeks, and then we'll be doing, I can hear my husband blowing his nose now in the bathroom. And then putting the tissue in the toilet and flushing it. Can you hear all this, or am I just telling you stuff I don't need to mention? It's going to be that kind of episode, I think. Interrupted. What was I saying before he started blowing his nose? Oh yeah, they're going back to school. So yeah, we did 6 weeks of homeschooling. We had a half-term break for a week, and then we're gonna, by the time they go back, we would have done another 2 weeks. And then I'll have 4 weeks before the Easter break. So I'm really happy they're going back. It's going to be quite difficult for my eldest one. I know it's different all over the world, but our primary school children, which is 4 to 11, they won't have to wear masks, but they remain in kind of bubbles in school, so they can't mix with other years and other bubbles. They're all put into bubbles. And there's a whole load of kind of measures in place. And then at the secondary school, because you can't really do that as easily, everybody's got to wear masks where social distancing isn't possible, and they have to be tested twice a week as well. So that's really difficult. I just think, you know, the kids have already endured and put up with so much, and this is the next stage. But hopefully this is the stage which will lead on to the stage with them getting their lives and their freedom and their childhoods back. I digress. What is my next finished object? Right, the next finished object is the thing I need to go and retrieve from her bedroom. So I'm going to go and do that now. Say hello to my next finished object, which is impossible to show you because it is the biggest thing ever that has been made out of yarn. Slight exaggeration. It's also not been blocked in the button band, and it hasn't had buttons added. And that is because the moment I finished sewing it together, I haven't even finished weaving in the ends. She took it and she won't give it back. It is so heavy, it is so massive, and she loves it so much. She has worn it several times when we've gone for our daily walks out around the local area. She is thrilled to bits with it. I will show you like this. And then I'm going to take it off because it's massive. And I'm going to put a little video in of Lilia wearing it because she does it a bit better than me. And I'm going to tell you all about it. So this is the Harry Styles cardigan. It was a collaboration between me and my mum. My mum did all the knitting and I did all the construction. So, and it is made, I didn't say before, but we used, I will tell you the yarn, hang on. We used King Cole Big Value Super Chunky yarn. And then we also used a red, which I can't remember. I think it's also a King Cole, but it's a DK one for the ribbing. It's fantastic yarn. My mum absolutely loved knitting with it. And the reason it's 100% acrylic yarn. The reason we did that is because wool, anything with wool would have been just so heavy. This is heavy enough and so expensive. We couldn't have justified it. And this was really affordable. And the colours are lovely. We went for a slightly more muted, you can see all the ends still need to be woven in there. We went for a slightly more muted palette than the original one. The pattern is by a designer called J.W. Anderson. Basically, there was a cardigan that Harry Styles wore, singer. It went viral and everyone on TikTok was trying to work out how to make it, and the designer was so impressed with everybody's creativity that they released the pattern for free, which is lovely. It's one lovely story. I really like that. So everyone was actually able to make it. There have been crochet versions made. I know that Rosina of Zines and Roger did a crochet one inspired by this cardigan. And I'm really pleased with it. It was nice to do a collaboration with my mum. She knit, these are all strips. So she knit all the strips and I constructed them. Just realised I've got two the same together there, which means, oh, that's because, yeah, we had to substitute some because we ran out of one colour, that's why. Yeah, so it is absolutely brilliant. Really enjoyed making it. It was so fun to do something with big old chunky yarn in crazy colours. That was just a huge fun project, which is now really appreciated by my eldest daughter. So, oh, my youngest daughter wants her own version now as well. But she wants hers in pastel colours, so we'll have to do a bit of working out on that. Right, works in progress. I've got another amigurumi I want to show you, well, a partly made amigurumi. Living in my Highland Coo bag by lovely Julie of So Unique, and I've also got one of her Highland Coo badges on the back, which was designed by her daughter, who also helped me design my Strictly Socks badges that I sell in my shop that coincide with the Strictly Sock Along I do every year. I am making from this fabulous book. So this is the first pattern I've made from this book. So I can now add, instead of just saying this book, I can now say this fabulous book because I have experience of it. Mini Kingdom, Crochet 36 Tiny Amigurumi Royals by Olka Novistka, which I probably just said wrong. There you go. I will link it underneath. It is fantastic. For most of the patterns you use the master head pattern, so you just make the head the same for any of them, which I've already done. I'm making the Jester, this one here. This is the one that Lilio has requested. And so far I have done the head and put his little eyes on. Oops. And I'm now on to the body part. And it is so clever and it's so teensy as well. So I've done his head, which I hope I've stuffed okay. I had a little bit of problem with the eyes, which I'm now looking at the eyes, wondering if I've put them on wonky. I think I've put the eyes on wonky. I put them one row apart. Oh no. I might have to go back and sort that out. Oh, that's a bummer, isn't it? Can you see? Do you think she'll notice? He's got one eye lower than the other. Might just make him look slightly quizzical. I don't know. I might go back and try and sort that out. So for such a simple pattern, I've really managed to give myself problems with it. I think it was when I was mucking about with the eyes, I had to take them on and off a few times because they're not the best safety eyes. And maybe I got a little bit lost when I was doing that. But I made the head, and what you do is on the fourth round of making the head, you work in the back loop only, which leaves you with the front loops visible. And then you pick up those loops to start working the body, so it kind of gets worked in one piece. And I can already now, from looking at the picture and looking at this, get a sense of just how diddy he's going to be. Oh, wait to see what he looks like finished. He's going to be the cutest little thing. And yeah, I'm definitely already thinking, oh, which one will I make next? Just adorable. I'm using a 2mm hook for this, so it is quite small amigurumi. And the yarn that I'm using two types. For the skin colour, I'm using Drops Saffron, which is a 4-ply or fingering weight cotton. And the colour I'm using is 64. I had a choice of 2, and that was the one I preferred. The other one I had to choose from was Shepya's Katona, colour not on there. But I just felt it was a bit too yellowy. So I went with the slightly more muted shade. Hello, here I am. And then for the rest of the colours, I am using also Shepya's Katona, but I got the little mini, how much, 25-gram ones, because I'm not going to need much of these colours at all. And I've got the yellow, the purple, a sort of orangey colour, and a pale blue. Really lovely colours. I'm really, really pleased with these. And a really affordable way to make such a cute little project as well. So that's my next work in progress. That has to be done by the 31st. Because that is when my daughter's birthday is. That's when she will be turning 15. I always make my girls a little creature or something on their birthdays. Phoebe has requested a dinosaur for Lilia's birthday, which I don't think I'm going to have time to do. But who knows? They are going back to school, so I'm about to have a lot more time in my days. My next work in progress is a bit of a revival. I was hoping to be able to give you a bit of an update on Phoebe's dynamite mittens. So in the last episode, I'd finished a pair of dynamite mittens patterned by Kay James of the Bakery Bears. And I'd made a pair for Lilia, my eldest daughter, and I had started on a pair for my youngest daughter. But I've made absolutely no progress on them whatsoever. They're still sitting in the box waiting for me to come and pick them up again. They're cut for various reasons. Getting distracted by other projects, homeschool, work, that kind of thing. So I'm not going to show those. And then randomly, well, not randomly, because we're clearing out the bedroom, I had to clear out a load of my craft stuff lives in the cupboards in this bedroom. So I'm having to get it out, think about it, pack it away, get it out the way. And I pulled out this bag, one of the old style oilcloth Kidston bags. And there was a project in here that I think I've had on the go for possibly 4 years. At least 4 years, possibly 5. And I looked at it and I thought, this is ridiculous. Every time I do anything with this cupboard, I'm going to empty it out, I'm going to get new wardrobes, it's going to go back in there. Let's finish the project that's in here, because it's been so long that it's completely not my taste anymore. So I need to finish it and either donate it or give it to one of the girls to use, or decide what it's going to do. And the pattern is my multiplication blanket. If you are a very old school viewer of this podcast, you might recognise that. I wrote a tutorial for how to do this little granny square. And I went back to look at it to remind myself and realised I'd made a load of mistakes in the tutorial. So that's just great, isn't it? So I need to rewrite that tutorial. It's only a free tutorial on a blog that I set up purely to write that tutorial. But nevertheless, I need to rewrite it. This is the multiplication granny square. It's nothing difficult or spectacular. It's basically, you start off with 2 rounds of a colour, and then you work white around for the 3rd round, but you work down into the 2nd round to get that little spike effect, which I thought looked like a multiplication sign, but many people have pointed out actually looks like the Maltese rose. You know what I mean. Maltese flower, Maltese rose. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, which it does, but I'm still calling it the multiplication blanket. And then you work basically 2 rows of single crochet around the outside, so you get quite a wide border. It's all made in acrylic yarn. It started off just using up scraps, and all of the granny squares that I've got have all got completely different colours. So when I put it together as a blanket, it's going to be a completely round, well, I'll set it all out, take a picture, and then I'm going to crochet them together. And I've got tons and tons. This is what I've done over the past few days, little pile of them there. And then I've got in here I've got bags and bags of already made ones with all the ends woven in and everything. Absolutely loads of them. So it's time that this project was finished and it doesn't just sit in a bag taking up space in my wardrobe. I need to keep doing it. So I've got a little bag of already completed 2 round granny squares. So what I've been doing this past week is just adding the white to them to get a pile of granny squares. I'm saying granny squares over and over again. And my intention was to work all of these little 2 round granny squares. But I think what I'm going to do today is lay it all out and see where we are and get an idea of how many more squares I need. But having said that, I've got all of these 2 round granny squares. I might as well turn them into full-size granny squares and use them, because I'm not going to do anything else with them. So yeah, I've kind of been distracted a bit with that, because even though I'm not enjoying it the most out of anything, it would be a shame to not use these granny squares for something. It's time to turn them into the finished blanket and move on. So that is my very old school whip. The only other thing I wanted to mention in terms of works in progress was my Ziggy Interrupted, which isn't, I keep saying I'm going to start and haven't started, but I have made progress in that I have been doing some colour planning for it. So the Ziggy Interrupted is a crochet pattern by Sandra Paul of the Cherry Heart podcast. It looks like this. Well, that's the end of it. So it's got tassels, it's got stripes, it's got zigzags, it's got little mini granny squares, and you need 4 or 5 colours. My friend Jodie helped me out with some colour planning ages and ages ago, and she sent me some yarn in return for a dodgy bag. So basically I got the better end of the deal, and I've had my colours planned for ages, but I've made a last minute change. So I've got I've wound up the yarn this morning, so that's another bit of progress. But I've managed to make some really dishevelled yarn cakes, just in keeping with the general theme. So here's my first dishevelled yarn cake in this lovely winey purpley colour. And I'm going to put the colour, the names and the colourway names and the dyers on the screen instead of me rummaging endlessly through my project bag trying to find them. So that's the purpley one. This is even more dishevelled. I don't know what I was doing. Phoebe actually helped me wind this, so there's a chance she was probably just going too fast. I actually do know that this is called Hogsmeade Holiday by the Willen Homestead. Oh, really beautiful. I'm really looking forward to using this. It's amazing how different they look when you cake them up, isn't it? And then I've got this lovely silky grey. And this is a singles, unlike the other one, so I'm hoping it's going to sit okay against the other yarn. And then I was going to use this homespun house one, which was a gift from my friend Lou ages ago, and it's called Dobby Tries to Help. But I've switched it out last minute for this slightly peachier one, which is Craft House Magic. This was a lovely gift from a viewer of this podcast called Kate. Thank you, Kate. Isn't that lovely? And I really like the way that this peachy one looked against the purpley one. I don't know why. There's something about that little colour combination there that just does something in my insides that I like. So those are my colours, and I'm going to start making the little squares and working out how the colours play together. And that's progress, isn't it? I have made progress. I haven't crocheted a stitch, but I'm calling it progress because I've caked up the yarn and made some decisions. And that is living in my Mrs. Robinson's bag. There it is, carefully made by Mrs. Robinson. My lovely lobster bag. And it's got a really nice lining as well. This reminds me of the potato houses in Copenhagen. I love that. Thank you for that bag, Claire. Okay, we're going to move on to talk about the Box of Singular Loveliness. I feel like this podcast is really low energy. Do I seem like really... I think it's just because I'm feeling a bit dishevelled and a bit kind of can't be bothered. Oh, just got the battery light come on now, as if to kind of demonstrate the point that we're low energy. My camera's running out of battery. I just got to go and get my charger. I know you don't need to know this because I can just cut it all out and you would never know. But I don't know, I just feel it adds to the experience. So I'm just going to get my charger. Okay, we're all plugged in again now. And I was about to tell you about the Box of Singular Loveliness. So I have this lovely box, very shiny, and every so often when I remember that this is something I do on the podcast, I find a gorgeous skein of yarn that I just don't know what to do with for my stash. And I ask for suggestions from you lovely lot, and you always come up trumps. So the current skein of yarn in the box is Wabi Sabi, which I looked up, and it actually means, it came up in a film we were watching. What film was it? No, it wasn't. It was Raven's Home, which my kids have watched through all the seasons twice already. We're waiting for the next one to come back on. It was brilliant. But she talked about Wabi Sabi, and it means beauty, I'm pretty sure beauty and imperfection or something, which is really lovely. And this is the gorgeous colourway. It is by I keep saying Knit Cosmic Strings. It is by Cosmic Strings. Look at those colours, they're so neon, I love them. Here's the, that's their logo. And this is just their thank you on the back, but just so you can see, Cosmic Strings. It would have been better if I'd shown you the actual yarn label, wouldn't it? There we go. It's a single ply, 100% superwash merino. It is a fingering weight or 4-ply weight, and I just didn't have a clue what to do with it. But I knew it would have to be something that wouldn't get a lot of hard wear, because obviously there's no nylon in it, so socks wasn't really an option. And I put the word out, and you all gave me loads of suggestions. Now I'm very behind on comments from last time, again, homeschool and work, and I'm hoping to catch up a bit later this afternoon. But up to the point where I was up to date, I've written down all of the pattern suggestions that I've had, and I've made a Ravelry bundle, so I'll link that underneath, all the suggested patterns for one skein of yarn. And I'm very quickly going to read out all of the suggestions. Got them all written down here. So far in the comments, and there will be more because I've got some more to catch up on. Tina suggested The Hipster Light by Hoagie Locatelli. Rick Rack suggested Close to You by Justina Lorkowska, or Spring Cowgirl by Jessie Rayott. Now I really liked the Spring Cowgirl. It's a kind of cow kerchief thing. I really liked that. I liked the idea of that, and I think I would wear something like that. Steffi suggested The Prairie Hat by Kay Jones. Meg suggested The Hitchhiker Shawl, which I've actually knit before. Oh, now my camera is overheating. Oh, we'll finish this bit and I'll let it cool down. Lumi and Pie suggested Nary by Amanda Skinner. Dominique suggested The Crosswise Cadence Mitts by I can't remember who the designer was, but they are gorgeous. I don't know if I'm going to make them with this yarn because I'm not sure it would be hard wearing enough, but they are gorgeous. I really like those. Or any of the One Skein Shawls by Heidi Alanda. Kim suggested The Age of Brass and Steam Kerchief. Zebra Kitten suggested The Positivity Spiral by Faye Dashba Hughes, who's a Crochet Circle podcast. So that's a crochet one. I really like the idea of that one as well, actually. It's a cow. And Helen suggested Raina by Nora Backland, or Easy Goes It by Finicky Creations. Now there will be more that I've got to add once I've caught up in, well, I'm assuming so, once I've caught up on comments properly. But I've created that Ravelry bundle in case you've got one skein of yarn that you need an idea for. So I've linked it underneath, and if you're a member of my Ravelry group, you should be able to see it. I'm not sure. I'm not really sure, but I'll link it underneath so you can find it. So thank you so much everyone who took the time to give me such good suggestions, and hopefully next time I'll be able to update you and let you know what pattern I'm going for. But whatever it is, I'm really looking forward to having this. I really love the bright colours, and I'm really looking forward to having it either on my head or around my neck. Okay, my camera has now cooled down, and there has been a period of people coming in and out of this room the bedroom. Dan's been getting his running gear because he's going to take Phoebe out for a bike ride. She's going to ride her bike and he's going to have a run. Lilia's come in to say goodbye as she gets ready to go out for her walk. So I'm actually going to be on my own in the house for a very short period of time, which is going to be highly unusual. I'm never alone these days. Right, let's talk about incoming things. All alone in the house, talking about stuff I've bought or received. How exciting. 2 notes at the beginning of this section, and that is, I attended last weekend the Knit Tea Retreat, the Knit Tea Nordic Retreat, which was an online retreat run by Zoe of the Pins and Needles podcast and Jenny of Owl About Yarn, and together they have Crochet yarn, where they sell yarn that's I think sourced and produced and dyed in Wales. It's absolutely beautiful yarn. I've knit with it, I've made a hat with it before, and I absolutely loved it. And I may have bought some more. So all of the things I bought off the back of that retreat, I cannot be held personally responsible for. It is entirely the fault of the people who gave talks, or the people who did their marketplace lives on Instagram, and so on and so forth. It's not my fault. Don't blame me. And I've also received some really, really lovely things in the post as well, which I'm really looking forward to showing you. I don't show everything that I receive. Thank you so much if you have sent me something. I will always have messaged you to have a little chat or say thank you. And I appreciate it. I appreciate it so much, and thank you so much. I couldn't show everything because I would completely run out of time, but thank you. If you've ever sent me something at all, thank you. Thank you for watching, I know, as well. Just thanks for being here on the other side of the camera, listening to this dishevelled person talking about knitting and crochet. I feel a bit dizzy again. I've had labyrinthitis. I mentioned this on one of my recent vlogs, and it's just an inflammation in a part of your inner ear, and I usually only get it in one ear, but I've got it in both ears at the moment. It was really bad on Thursday or Wednesday or Thursday last week. And it's got better progressively, but I do feel it's got a bit worse again today. There's nothing you can do about it. You just have to kind of wait for it to go away. Right, the shopping. Let's start with the shopping. First of all, I just want to say how fantastic the Knit Tea retreat was. I have never done a knitting retreat. I really want to do one in real life now, as in not just online. Although the good thing about it being online was people from all over the world could join in, which was really, really good. It was good to see so many people from different parts of the planet. It was so well run. There's something very capable about Zoe. She's a grown-up. And I was like, yes, I trust you to like make things run really well. And Jenny as well, she was an absolutely fantastic host. They were both brilliant. I had such a good time. The talks were fascinating. So we had like a Zoom chat on the Friday night. We had a talk first of all from Carrie Westerman, who is Carrie Bookish, about sort of the history of Nordic knitting and the different Nordic knitting styles from the different Nordic countries, and it was fascinating. Then we were all put into different rooms. There was quite a lot of people, so they divided everyone into different Zoom rooms, and we were all able to have a really nice knit and a chat, and it was really, really lovely. I so enjoyed it. And then on Saturday there was another talk, and this time it was Becky of River Knits, and she talked about colour and the use of colour, and that was absolutely fascinating as well. She was so good. I learned so much from that, and you could ask questions in the chat and so on. And then there was another knit and natter on Saturday night, but I couldn't make that because I had plans with the girls. And then on Sunday there was another talk which was by Estelle of Midwinter Yarns, and that was primarily about Swedish knitting traditions. And again, it was so fascinating. I found myself sort of scribbling notes throughout all of the talks, which I hadn't expected to be doing. I thought I'd just be sitting and listening, but I was like writing stuff down and Googling stuff on my phone, and it was so good. It makes me realise how little I actually know about knitting and the history of it and the different origins, and it was It was brilliant. I really enjoyed it. And then on Sunday morning there was another knit and natter, and that was really lovely to chat to everybody. I want to say hello to Carolyn, especially from the Sunday morning group, because she was so sweet. She was so sweet about my podcast, and so thank you. And hello, Carolyn, and hello to everybody that I spoke to. If I think half of them probably don't watch this, but if you do, it was lovely chatting to you. And it was nice to see some familiar faces as well. I saw Ellie of Craft House Magic was there, and Mina of the Knitting Expat was there. It was brilliant. I loved it. I would definitely go to a real life retreat now. Me and my mum are talking about it once we're all allowed out again and allowed to travel. And it's really made me think about what I actually enjoy out of knitting, and about the kind of yarns that I use. I've kind of automatically fallen into the kind of 4-ply fingering weight yarn, occasionally DK and so on, but I find, especially like with working with the Harry Styles cardigan and a few other projects recently, I really do enjoy working with thicker, bulkier yarns and more rustic yarns as well. And it's something I don't do often, so it's something I really do want to start thinking about. I've got quite a big yarn stash because, you know, I've been very lucky. I've been sent a lot of yarn, and I'm toying with the idea of projects I could make where I sort of hold some of that yarn double to make thicker yarn and make nice bulkier projects, because I really do find that enjoyable. So yeah, anyway, moving on, let's talk about the things that I bought. Okay, you might hear some noises because next door's dog was just losing its shizzle with someone walking past, and I live in a Victorian house and the walls are very, very thin, and apparently we can hear every last growl. Let's distract ourselves by talking about purchases. So the first thing I bought was from Estelle at Midwinter Yarns, and she spoke about this in her talk, and I was like, oh, I want to make those. And this is very much in keeping with the me talking about making things in thicker yarn. So I bought a kit to make some Swedish rag socks. There's the picture from the pattern there, and you can see it's written. Oh no, it's not. Hang on. I was going to say it's written in Swedish, but it isn't. But I've written it on the back. So rag socks is rag socker, which I'm saying wrong. I'm saying it like it's spelt, but it's not pronounced like that. So it's typically made with a worsted Aran weight yarn for winter socks, winter wear. And there's also a Danish word, rag sock, which translates as ski sock as well. So they're kind of thick, warm socks that you can wear outdoors in your boots, or indoors as kind of to keep your feet warm on cold evenings. It's a really simple construction. It's got a 1x1 ribbed leg, which you work the entire leg in rib, and then a stockinette stitch foot. And she sells different colours of the yarn in the kits, and it is a rag socks yarn, which is rag socks yarn, and I got this one. So the colour I think is 155. This one, I really liked the look of this sort of grey, black, brown, but she does other colour versions, sort of purpley, red and so on. So if these come out well and I have jealous family members around me, I can see me making more of these. Yeah, I'm really excited to make it. It feels like a nice, sturdy, warm, rustic yarn. What's the makeup of it? It's 70% wool, 30% nylon. So yeah, that was the first thing I bought from Midwinter Yarns. And I'm really excited to get started on those, but I think I'm going to put them away until after the bedroom's done, which kind of means I'll probably start working on them when the weather's all wrong, because we'll be going to spring, summer bar. Yeah, but I can't really. I need to clear things away and get them put away. They won't be completely out of reach. I'm going to put all of my crafting stuff in boxes on top of the wardrobes in Phoebe's room, just temporarily for the few weeks it will take. So I'll be able to access it, but I think in terms of the mess that it's all creating, I don't want too many projects out all over the place. I think I want to start new things a bit later on after it's all done. Hello, I'm in a different place. I'm in my original podcasting spot, which is where I used to podcast all the time before, well, back in the day when everyone used to go out of the house. So the sound is going to be a bit different because I'm in the kitchen, so it's a lot more echoey. A lot more echoey than usual, which I can't work out why. Anyway, but I had to move because our next door neighbours are doing something on the exact opposite side of the bedroom wall to where I was sitting, and it was really loud. So I have moved downstairs in the hope that I'll be able to finish without the sound of whatever they're doing. One day I will live in a house where my walls are not attached to other people's walls, and that will be my dream. I will be happy. I was telling you about things I bought. So the next thing I wanted to share with you was the yarn that I had bought from Crochet yarn from Zoe and Jenny. And I ordered, so as part of the, so I should say as well that I got the ticket for, they gave me a ticket as a gift, and they gave me a ticket to give away. So hello Karen, because Karen was the winner and I was very lucky to spot her in the crowd. She said hello, and I think she enjoyed it as well. And Karen, I've seen your email and I'm going to reply to it very soon. Yeah, so that was the reason why I was able to attend. So thank you to Zoe and Jenny. And as part of the ticket, you got on the day that it started the retreat pattern. And it was a tea cozy by Zoe of Pins and Needles. And she said that she's also probably going to release that as a hat. Now, I do have a teapot, so I'm quite tempted to make a tea cozy because I don't have one. But I also like the idea of making a hat. So I looked at the yarn requirements and I ordered some yarn to use to make either the tea cozy or the hat. I haven't decided yet. And it's all their Cartref yarn, and it's all DK. So it's non-superwash Welsh DK, and I ordered minis, so they're 20-gram minis, and I got 2 of the colour Glow. Now some of these colours I'm not even going to try and tell you, but this one is Glow, which is not showing up at all true to life. I think if I hold it a bit further back it does. It's a very lovely dark navy blue. So I got 2 of those. I also got 2 of this colour, so I can't pronounce that at all, which is a lovely pink. And then I got 1 each of this colour, which is a nice bright blue, and this colour, which I think is Welsh for natural, and sort of undyed colour. And that's going to be my, so it'll either be this combination or this combination or this combination or this combination. That was all really badly shown. So I've got all the yarns I need for when the hat pattern comes out, or if I decide to make the tea cozy. And I'm going to wrap those up and put them away safely, away from all the dust and chaos that the bedroom renovation is going to cause. Oh, we'll be getting some revenge on the neighbours with the banging and crashing. I also treated myself to the Knit Tea Retreat pin, which I'm going to put on my pin pennant, which is also going away into storage because it's the special one they did for the Nordic retreat. You can see it's got the colour work patterns there on the teapot and the yarn. I really liked that, so I got that to add to my collection. So thank you Zoe and Jenny, I had a really great time and the yarn is beautiful. I also bought, this is the last thing I bought, some yarn from lovely Jilly at Mrs S Creations. I went and popped into her Instagram live for the marketplace on the day, and she showed one particular colour and I was like, I do not need any more fingering weight yarn, single skeins of fingering weight yarn. And I kept telling myself that as I ran to her online shop and purchased it anyway, because it's just so beautiful. It is called Mad as a Hatter, and it's inspired by the Mad Hatter character played by Johnny Depp in the Tim Burton version of Alice in Wonderland. Now, I love Alice in Wonderland. I'm slightly obsessed with that kind of aesthetic that I can't quite put my finger on. I love it. So I had to have this. I think I'm going to knit myself a pair of Mad Hatter socks. I absolutely love this yarn. And it came, so with her little card, that's all their details by the way. And because it's part of the, I think it's part of the collection, the Tea Party collection, it came with a little brass teapot. How cute is that? Love it. So thank you for that, Jilly. It's absolutely beautiful. Her yarn is beautiful, and it even came with my favourite Yorkshire tea. So I will have that after I finish blethering on here. And it came in this really nice tissue paper as well. Like my Phoebe saw it and was like, that's really pretty tissue paper. It's like, yes, it is. Some more things that I've had coming in. I was very, very lucky to receive some gifts. Okay. So the first thing I wanted to show you is not yarn related, but a lovely, lovely lady called Carol. And she said that I'm allowed to share her details. Her name is Carol Medhurst. She's a paper crafter and a viewer of this podcast. And she contacted me because I spoke on my This Little Wonderful Life channel about my love of keeping diaries and notebooks and my interest in getting into a bit more of art journaling and so on. And she contacted me to say, I make handmade journals. Would you like one? And I was like, yes, please. So I don't want to share her details because it's got her email here and her phone number. So I didn't want to share that because that seems a bit too personal. But if you're interested in this, I think she does sell them. So do contact me. She's in, I can't remember. Are you in Australia, Carol? Can't remember. That's completely gone out of my head. My brain is like fizzing. But anyway, she sent me a handmade, I think they're called junk journals, although they're anything but junk, so I don't know why they're called that. And it looks like this. It's made with found and recycled things. And every page is handmade. And every page has a little surprise. So in here we've got a little pocket and it's got things like little handmade and embossed tags, like that. All decorated, and it's got some little sort of papery delights inside as well, and that's all tucked away. And also in between the front cover and that page there's a little bit that you can pull out to make notes on. Then you've got your pages, and then all throughout there's different things to discover. So you'll turn the page and there'll be a little pocket or a little piece of, like here there's a piece of like a gardening magazine, and then there's another little pocket here, and in here there's a little envelope. I can't get it out, and handmade pages, and then on another page you might have a little bit of doily there, and another little tag in a pouch. The girls have been through this so many times. There's a little tab here with little handmade envelopes behind. They just tuck in there, and then old recycled book pages with decoration on them. And it just goes on and on. It's just full of these little nooks and crannies and things tucked away that you can find. It is utterly beautiful. She sent me a handmade card. There's a little pouch at the back here. So I kept the little handmade card that she sent as well along with it here. And she also sent a little handmade card each for the girls and some little paper bits for them to use in their journals. Lilia in particular is really into junk journaling, so she was delighted. And I'm just thrilled to bits with this. I can't wait to put it to use and to make notes in it. I'm just going to enjoy it for a little while and just keep flicking through it and be inspired by it before I actually start using it to make notes. I think I might use it to write little quotes and memories and things in and make it a really precious thing for the girls to look through in the future. So thank you so much, Carol. We were blown away by this. The whole family we've never seen anything like it. And yeah, thank you so much. I was really, really happy. It makes me happy, this kind of thing. I also received the most gorgeous box of goodies from Bente, or Bente. I really hope that one of those pronunciations is correct. From Arctic Crafts. She contacted me because she watches the podcast and she said, I've got a bag that I want to send you because it's just so you. And she sent me the bag, but she also was very naughty and sent me lots of other bits as well. I couldn't believe it. So this is the bag. I'm obsessed with lobsters. In case you're new and didn't know, I love lobsters. My husband and I, it's a running thing. We've got lobsters all over the house. Like our tea towels are lobsters. We've got lobster artwork everywhere. So I'm going to use this for my shopping. I've had it put away, not using it because obviously I wanted to show you. But now I've shown you, I'm going to pop it down here and put it in my cubby hole in the hallway because I will use that next time I go shopping. She also sent me, she says she's obsessed with knitting socks. She's always got too many. And she sent me a pair. She doesn't have the pattern for this, she can't remember. But it's gorgeous, gorgeous yarn, gorgeous colour. And it fits me like a glove. It is so perfect, and your knitting is so much neater than mine, Bente. so much neater, and they just fit me perfectly. So now that I've shown you those, I can put these in my sock drawer to wear. Actually, I might put them straight in my boots to wear when we go out for a walk later, because I can't wait. I'm so excited. It's so nice having something handmade for you. I just love it. So she sent me a shell from the beach near where she lives. So this is going to go in our bathroom, on display in our bathroom. Phoebe was delighted with this. She couldn't believe how big it was. And she sent me some of her hand-dyed yarn. Oh, and she sent me the most adorable little stitch markers. I'll just show you that quickly there. I won't show you all of them, but I wanted to show you this one because it's like a little gummy bear. How cute is that? Little gummy bear. Looks edible. And a few other little stitch markers in there as well. And then some of her beautiful hand-dyed yarn. This one, very Valentine's-y for February, although by the time you watch this, it'll be March. It's called Valentine's 2021 Love Story. Isn't that beautiful? I love red and pink together. I love colours that supposedly clash, but I don't think they do. And this is called Blueberry Cheesecake, and this is a lovely squishy DK. It'd be perfect for a hat or a squishy cow. Oh, look at those lovely bits of speckles. So yeah, I was absolutely thrilled to little bits with this, so thank you so much. I'm just going to pack it all away. Let's move on to books and stuff. This is where we talk about things I've been reading, watching, listening. By the way, you can see all the mess behind me because I had to move down here so quickly. I've got boxes of stuff here. Literally, this is the story of my life at the moment. My whole house is a dishevelled mess. Dishevelled is the word of this podcast. I've been reading The Salt Path by Raina Wynn. You can see my bookmark there. You can see how far through I am. I'm nearly finished. I have been loving this book. I've been really looking forward to reading it at night, going to bed and finding out what's going to happen next. It's a very heart-wrenching book, really, and it's lovely to read her descriptions as they travel the southwest coast path. It's a really lovely story. It's a true story. They did it because they were homeless. They were made homeless, and her husband was terminally ill. So I'm really enjoying this book, and I know quite a few of you have read it as well, and have also really enjoyed it. And I would recommend this. I'm thoroughly enjoying it, and I will probably pass it on to my mum or Dan after I've finished it. I'm also still reading On My Bedside Table by David Olusoga, Black and British, a short essential history, which is like a young adult or kids version of his longer book, which is Black and British, The Forgotten History, which I'm currently listening to on audiobook. Now, I got a new phone recently. Here it is. I went for yellow. And I've got a nice little spotty, what do you call these? Pop sockets, so because I've got tiny hands so I can hold it. And in doing so, I had to log back into all of my apps, one of them being Audible. And I realised that I really needed to cancel my Audible subscription. I wasn't using it often enough. So I had a load of credits that I wanted to use first. So I bought a load of other books. And as a result, I've been listening to Tom Allen, No Shame. Tom Allen is a comedian, a British comedian here. And it's kind of his autobiography, but it is so funny. He reads it as well, and I'm loving it. And I've been listening to that because I normally listen to David Olusoga in the car. It's a 25-hour audiobook, and when I logged back into Audible, it had lost my place. So I need to find where I was in this book. I can't remember. I'm pretty sure I was about, I don't know, 9 or 10 hours in. So I'm going to have to keep listening to sections to remind myself to see where I was in that book before I got a new phone. So I want it back up and running because I'll be returning to work hopefully in the next couple of months, and I'll have a drive again when I can actually listen to it. But it's so annoying. Anyway, if you know Tom Allen at all and you know how funny he is, his audiobook, No Shame, so far I've listened to 2 chapters, is just hilarious. Really, really light-hearted and good fun. Okay, let's move on to And Finally and get this podcast finished before my camera explodes. It's flashing all kinds of angry lights at me. Okay, I think I've got the camera is a little less angry with me, and I'll have enough time just to do And Finally, which is the very last bit where I just mop up all the rest of it. So first of all, I wanted to say that all the Strictly prizes have now been sorted. So if there's any problems, do let me know, but everything's been sent out. Everyone's been put into touch with everyone who's sending prizes, and so many of you have got in touch with me to let me know they've been received, so thank you so much for that. I still haven't heard from 2 winners, and I've given you shout outs now for, I think, some of you, I think since October. So there's 2 winners that I have redrawn. So the first one is for the set of minis from Jilly at Mrs S Creations, and also a bag made by lovely Sue, who is a viewer of this podcast. I have redrawn for that, and the new winner is from the chatter thread, and it is Lee Loves Yarn. So Lee, if you're watching, you are the new winner of the mini set and the bag. So if you can please get in touch with me, email is best. It's littledropsofwonderful@gmail.com, or you can drop me a message on Ravelry or on Instagram, where I'm Starry Eyes Ali. So get in touch with me and we'll get your prize sent out to you. And then the final one, I drew another winner from the FO thread, and that is Sewing Sue 44. You have won a crafty mystery box from Jo at Pickle Lily. I have had one of her mystery boxes before, and they are fantastic. They are so much fun. You don't know what you're going to get. You'll always get a little something handmade, a little kit and some crafty little bits, and they're fantastic. So if you can get in touch with me, Sewing Sue 44, again, email, Ravelry or Instagram, and we'll put you in touch with Jo, who will get your prize sent out to you. The dodgy bag Mal is coming back. This will be the third year I think, that Claudia of Crochet Luna podcast, hi Claudia, and I have run this really fun make along. It is a month long. It will run from the 1st of May until the 5th of June. So I'll talk about it more in the next podcast about what's involved. But we all make bags. I've got a tutorial on this channel. I've got 2 tutorials for making bags the dodgy way, which is just winging it basically, and it's just to encourage people to get the sewing machines out and give it a go. It's good fun. Make a dodgy bag. And mistakes are welcome, and there'll be prizes as well, but more on that in a future episode as we get nearer to it. The shop is still open, but I have sold out of my new style of pin, which is the smooth style with the epoxy over the top. I've got another batch, a big batch on the way. There was a slight delay because the factory where they're made is in China, and it has been Chinese New Year, so all the factories closed for a couple of weeks so they can enjoy their celebrations. But I'm expecting the delivery to be in the 1st or 2nd week of March, so that's in the next couple of weeks, and then they'll be up in the shop again. But thanks to everyone who's asked, and thanks to everyone that's been buying pins, and to everybody that's bought me a Ko-fi in support of this podcast. I really appreciate it. It makes a huge difference, so thank you. And vlogs, daily vlogs are coming. I haven't done daily vlogs since Vlogtober, but I'm not doing them on this channel. I'm doing them over on This Little Wonderful Life. It's going to be everything you have come to expect: crafty stuff, daily life, chaos, and the song of the day. So that is back. So if you want to join me for daily vlogs throughout March, by the time you watch this, you'll already have a couple of episodes to catch up on. You can binge watch a couple if you want. They'll be happening over on This Little Wonderful Life. The link to that is below. Make sure you hop over, subscribe, press the notification bell, do whatever you need to do to stay up to date. So I hope you've enjoyed this ramble. It feels completely disjointed. It feels like I've just been doing it all day, and it's going to be really long as usual, which I always apologise for, and you're always incredibly nice and say, don't worry, we like a long podcast, so I'll try not to feel too guilty about it. And we've had 2 different locations as well, because who knows what next door are doing. I will see you again in a couple of weeks, unless you're joining me over on This Little Wonderful Life, in which case I'll see you today or tomorrow. Happy knitting, happy crocheting. I'll see you very soon. Bye.